YouTube is allowing a cyber criminal that promotes doxing innocent people and distributing CP to use a fake identity to falsely strike my channel.
Hey everyone, let's talk about something that's been really bugging me lately. If you've been keeping up with the YouTube scene, you might have heard about Ebullience, a content creator who's been having just a completely terrible time recently. It involves just some of the lowest filth that the human species can produce. So, let's get right to it. It all kicked off back in August. Ebullience, who's been doing YouTube for over a decade, found themselves face-to-face with an absolute nightmare. Some messed up individual came barging into their Discord server. Now, this wasn't just a casual fan or even a decent person. No, this person was demanding stuff, specifically a gaming mouse or $200. And not just for kicks. They were threatening to escalate things if they didn't get what they wanted. So, what does Ebullience do? He tries to manage the situation, hoping it'll blow over. But the harassment didn't stop. It got worse. This creep started making threats against one of Ebullience's family members. That's right, personal threats that crossed every line you can think of. And guess what? Since YouTube's response was as helpful as a screen door on a submarine, Ebullience was kind of forced into a corner. He had to give in to the demands just to get the harassment to stop. But wait, it gets even crazier. This isn't your run-of-the-mill harassment. This person wasn't just a troublemaker, they were also a copyright thief. They started filing false copyright claims against Ebullience's channel. This wasn't some simple misunderstanding. No, this was a full-blown attack. This person is just human trash for doing this. Ebullience had a bunch of their content struck down, and each strike was more ridiculous than the last. The harasser was using a fake identity to file these claims. And it wasn't just a small issue, it was a full-scale assault. They were targeting specific artworks, claiming them as their own. And here's the kicker. Ebullience had all the proof to show that he was the rightful owner. We're talking about original project files, messages with the artist, and all kinds of documentation that should have cleared up any confusion. Despite providing YouTube with everything they needed, including evidence that the claims were false and that the identity used was fake, YouTube's response was as helpful as a broken compass. The strikes continued, and it seemed like no matter how much proof Ebullience presented, it didn't make a dent. But the harassment didn't stop at just copyright claims. The same person who was filing these bogus strikes also hijacked Ebullience's Discord server. Imagine this. A community of nearly 40,000 people is suddenly overrun by someone posting illegal and disgusting content. Yeah, we're talking about gore and other explicit stuff that's definitely not okay. Ebullience was left with no choice but to issue a public warning, telling their viewers to leave the server or risk getting mixed up in something they didn't want to be part of. It was a nightmare scenario, not just for Ebullience, but for everyone involved. Now, let's talk about YouTube's role in all this because, let's face it, they've been a major part of the problem. Despite all the evidence Ebullience provided, YouTube's response was underwhelming at best. The platform's automated systems and lack of human oversight meant that the situation wasn't being addressed properly. Ebullience even had a lawyer involved, but that didn't help much either. It was like throwing a bucket of water at a raging fire. YouTube's so-called copyright team seemed more interested in letting the harasser continue their rampage than in actually resolving the issue. Let's not forget the emotional toll this whole situation has taken. Ebullience has been doing YouTube for over years. That's a long time to build up a channel and a community. To have it all threatened by someone who's essentially a digital bully is incredibly disheartening. It's not just about losing content or dealing with strikes. It's about the feeling of being constantly under attack with no one to help. The stress and frustration are palpable. Ebullience's future on YouTube is hanging in the balance, and it's not just about the channel itself. It's about the hard work, the time, and the passion that have gone into creating content and building a community. So, what's next for Ebullience? Well, he is considering taking legal action against YouTube or Google, which is a huge step. It's not just about trying to get their channel back. It's about standing up against a system that's clearly failing them. It's a daunting task, and the thought of going up against such massive companies is intimidating, to say the least. Ebullience is also reaching out to their audience for support. He is asking viewers to help by contacting YouTube's copyright team and spreading the word about what's happening. This situation is a microcosm of a larger problem. It's not just about ebullience. It's about how platforms like YouTube handle abuse and copyright disputes. It's about the need for better systems and more human oversight. When someone can manipulate the system so easily, it raises serious questions about the effectiveness of these platforms in protecting their users. We're seeing a growing problem where malicious actors can exploit weaknesses in the system to cause real harm. Whether it's through fake identities, false claims, or outright harassment, the tools meant to protect creators are being used against them. It's a reminder that the systems in place need to evolve and improve to keep up with the ways people are trying to game them. So, there you have it. Ebullience's story is a tough one, filled with harassment, false claims, and a frustrating lack of support from YouTube. If you're as outraged as I am, consider reaching out to YouTube's copyright team or sharing this story to raise awareness. Here's hoping that things get sorted out and that YouTube steps up to address these issues properly. For now, all we can do is support Ebullience and hope that this problem is fixed. Spread the word and make sure that this is not just forgotten or ignored.